Fundamentally, it's a First Amendment issue with me. I don't like a law telling the developer where they need to spend their money unless it is something like seatbelts. Like, I would rather a company go out of business, like perhaps Ubisoft is in the process of doing in fits and starts, because the consumer is pushing back on the way they treat the customer. And I get your point because you want your audience to love you. I wish my audience loved me, but I have to be honest with them.
You really think, well, hold up. You really think I'm just doing this for like clout? You think I don't have any personal, that I take issue with.
But hey, at least we checked a box for a game that only 8 people are going to play in 10 years from now. So, hey, yay for us, right?
I'll tell you this. I wish 8 people could still play, what was it, Drawn to Death?
Yeah, let's solve it by making companies go out of business. Let's not solve it by a law.
Jaffe did a video on you? He did? Just now? No, he didn't. Did he? Let's go react to Jaffe's video reacting to me. Oh my God. He did. What? All right. Jaffe 6 minutes ago. What is he talking about? All right. I don't remember disrespecting David Jaffe.
One of our former members, Wayne B, sent me this clip. This is Destin, used to be at IGN, now has his own Patreon talking about video games. Let me play it for you real quick.
I don't particularly care what David Jaffe thinks about Stop Killing Games. That's not like an anti-David Jaffe thing. He's been on the show before. Yeah. Who cares what David Jaffe thinks? I don't care what Thor thinks. I don't care what David Jaffe thinks. I don't care what anybody in wearing the corporate cap or benefiting from the corporate cap has to say about video games that were sold and what the consumer can do with their product. Okay. Wow. I'm very on the consumer side in like every situation.
I like the guy. He's been on my show. I've been on his show. We don't know each other well enough to be friends, but we're certainly friendly. And I can't fathom a world in which we wouldn't be friends if we spent more time together. But I did find this kind of disrespectfully, insultingly dismissive.
What? So hold up. The reason I say that, it's like, so somebody wanted me to stop down my whole stream, go watch David Jaffe's 38-minute video on Stop Killing Games, and then go back to it. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm indifferent. I don't have any hatred for Jaffe. I don't understand this. I don't understand what's going on. This feels like did you see what so-and-so said about you type thing?
Just sort of the presentation of his comment. But that part
I get that.
I don't benefit from the corporate hat anymore. But for the moment, let's just assume I do. The biggest issue I take with this comment, and I take it from a lot of these people who do video game punditry, is this idea of sort of cheap applause lines, like being in Milwaukee and saying it's great to be in Milwaukee tonight, and the whole audience goes crazy, and it's like, he really likes us. He's one of us.
I'm very on the consumer side in like every situation.
Okay, well, I am too, and most people are. But it is a bit of a nuanced topic, and that's sort of the problem with it, is that I can sit here and I can rah-rah and cheerlead, and everybody will love what I say, and everybody will love me and say, Jaffe gets it. He's one of...
What's his stance? He's pro killing games? Like, what's his stance? I don't even know what we're arguing about. I'm going to message David Jaffe right now.
You there?
Yeah, you're on.
Hey, well,
you son of a... No, just kidding. You know what I hate? Spam calls, spam emails, and risks of identity theft. That's why I'm happy Incogni sponsored this video. With their service, you can reduce the headaches of spam and data breaches for a low monthly fee that's even lower when you use code DESTIN at checkout. Incogni even has a new feature, custom data removal. This is great because you can easily request removal of your personal data on websites using Incogni. Doing it yourself takes a lot of digging, looking for the right contact, and sending out individual emails. With Incogni Unlimited, you can simply copy the link where your info is found and paste it into Incogni. They will handle the rest as often as they can. And big sites like White Pages, Trellis, Unicourt, or DMB, these are confirmed already. So just send the link to Incogni and they do the work. I have had to do this myself, and it's a pain in the butt. So this is a great way to get it done, in my opinion. Look, everyone online is after your data, and Incogni is trying their best to help limit the annoyances that creates. That means fewer spam emails, fewer spam calls, and more privacy. I like it. Take your personal data back with Incogni. Use code DESTIN at the link below and get 60% off an annual plan over at incogni.com/Destin. They even have a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you don't like it, they'll refund you. Thank you to Incogni for the sponsorship, and now, back to the video. You can hear me?
Yeah.
That was weird. No, I was just jokingly cursing you out.
Fuck you, IGN boy.
Yeah, typical.
Fucking Patreon motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm one of those. Thanks for keeping it clean.
Oh, sorry. Was that a thing? Come on, man. I didn't.
All right. There we go. We got it set up. So
Right.
I was so pissed. No, so just to give you a little bit of context, I was talking about the Stop Killing Games thing and my personal reaction to it. And then someone's like, you should go watch David Jaffe's 38-minute video in the middle of your rant. And I'm like, I don't care right now what David Jaffe said about it. I don't care what Pirate Software is saying about it. I'm just giving my opinion on it. It was never meant to be like David Jaffe sucks or something, you know?
No, and I said that, in my video. But to be perfectly fair, as you try to walk it back,
no, fuck that. I ain't walking shit back. I don't care what you think. But like, if you wanted me to get into it,
but to be perfectly fair,
why would I care when I'm giving my opinion? What anybody else thinks?
Well, okay, my two issues when it comes to that part, which is really not the most salient part of it all, is I thought it was kind of obnoxiously dismissive in sort of a theatrical way. But hey, you're making a video, I get it. But the other part was it seemed like
it was a live stream.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You seem like you wanted to lump me in with not money hat, but like money cap people, and it's like, oh well, yeah, I don't really. I think your words were, I don't care what anyone who benefits or has benefited from the corporate cap or something has to say about it.
Because you're operating within the structure where you have to build it in a way where you have to sell it to a Sony or a Microsoft, right? So you're operating within constraints that make you make it that way. And I don't like that either. Right.
Well, that's not, well, okay, there is some truth to that. Absolutely. But it's also the fact, though, that the assumption that for me personally, the fact that I have an opinion that's based on the fact that I'm this put upon developer versus I'm just a guy who did it for about the last 10 years of my career. And I can tell you there are aspects to it that you might not like if it was regulated the way you're suggesting. I saw one of the guys in your chat go, well, why not then just make everything peer-to-peer? It's like, sure, go ahead and do that. Play Call of Duty peer-to-peer and play it twice and then give up because everyone's cheating and because the only person winning is either the cheater or the guy who's the host or the guy who's closer to the server farm, right? There's a lot of reasons things get done that it doesn't mean the consumer doesn't deserve info as to why they get done, but when all those things come together and you are using the infrastructure of a company, or even if it's a small company, even if you're using the infrastructure of Amazon servers and you're an indie developer, right? Amazon can't guarantee that those servers are going to be up forever. And so you're supposed to go into some kind of, hang on. Hey guys, can you shut my door? I think the dog opened it.
I can't
hear Velociraptors.
I can't hear them.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of like, you know, you enter into a legal contract and you're a small developer. Let's just take a small developer, the guys who did Peak or something. And I don't know if Peak is peer-to-peer server authenticated, but let's say there's some back-end stuff that's running off Amazon.
Peak's the climbing game, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it runs off AWS.
Okay, great. So
no, I'm guessing.
I'm
Yeah.
guessing as well. So what, these guys now, because of this stop killing games thing that got turned into some kind of law, well, we have to keep, God knows how much money in the bank to make sure that if AWS goes offline, we have to be able to afford, even if there's only 1,500 people a month playing the game, not concurrently across the course of a month, that we still have to put out the money for those servers and make sure that it's running. And
I
if new graphics cards become the norm, we have, I mean,
I
there's a
think you're
lot of stuff that this law would force developers to do. And could they do it? Sure, but it would come at the expense of something else. Every
I
day making games is robbing Peter to pay Paul.
yeah, I think you're making a case where I'm saying, oh, don't do the boss fight so that you have these online servers. I'm saying at a fundamental level, the way games are being made online, they're being made that way to profit off of the player more, not because there's like a fundamental need to build them that way. I can plug in my 360 right now and put in any of the multiplayer games that without an Ethernet plugged in, without the 360 updated, that stuff's going to function because it's available on the disk. Games like Destiny, they just have to delete 7 years of player of stuff so that they can evolve the world and add new stuff. World of Warcraft, as an example, like vanilla WoW, players took that original code, rebuilt it from the ground up, and they were sued to stop doing that so Blizzard could remake vanilla WoW and market it and sell it. So
Right. Well, it's their product. I mean,
it is their product, but there needs to be both solutions. Sure, they want to do that, great. But if players want to relive that original experience, you're telling me that money that I spent to buy that original product, even if it was made, I will get sued and told I'm not allowed to do that. Like, that's the current reality that we're in. So there needs to be a little bit of give.
Well, you're ascribing a scenario as
It
if it would
happened.
apply. Yes, but you're describing a scenario as if it happened, that any consumer who buys a game that is no longer playable is in the firing lane for that kind of scenario to happen to them. These were guys that went out and made a full-on game, like you said, rewrote it from the ground up. I assume I could be wrong, but I assume there was some sort of monetization aspect to allow them, if nothing else, pay for their servers. So they were making money off of someone else's brand as well. I don't think, if you, like right now, for example, you can play Twisted Metal online, Black online, which came out in 2002, I
PS2.
think. Right.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and I think you can even play
Good one.
2012.
That was one of the good ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you can even play 2012. I'm not sure. People have told me you can't. Sony's not going after this small little group of like maybe 50 people that have figured out how to kludge it together. But yeah, if you're going to make a fucking product and you're going to monetize it, well, maybe I think people could argue that maybe they have a right to protect their brand, but that's not anti-consumer. That's just normal business.
I get that. So like the
Yeah.
Twisted Metal Black example, though, that's exactly what I think the Stop Killing Games movement wants. They just want, if you have a dedicated community and they want to fire up Amazon servers to run Peak or whatever game it may be, they want to be able to do that. And you are telling me the only way that's possible is if you don't make a boss or something?
What I'm telling you is, if we were to have made Drawn to Death, and we were to have done things like, you understand peer-to-peer versus server authentication, correct?
Let's pretend I don't.
Okay, so peer-to-peer means that you are the host, and a lot of these old games you're talking about, that's what they did, right? So you were the host, you made a server list, and everybody basically flew into your internet connection, and you were sort of the one that, because you were hosting it or you had the best ping, it was
I'm footing the
dependent.
bill.
Well, you're not footing the bill, but your box makes the decision. So I fired a missile and I think it hit you, but since you're the host and you think you got out of the way, it's going to err on the side of what was happening locally for you.
That's why Gears 1 had host advantage.
Now, you can take time for the team to go, it's going to be peer-to-peer, so we have to write in things to try to make that good, but it's never going to be as good as a hosted server that is on Amazon or Sony or whatever, where this is the authentic voice, there's cheating is a lot less, all that stuff. So now what you're saying is, take the guy that makes the net code work for the third online co-op boss you want to have, And instead of the 4 months he would need to do there, he has to make sure that the code that is specific for the game he's writing is now going to be able to work on the off chance the game comes out, it gets killed in 3 years, and 6 years later, there might be a guy in a fit of nostalgia that wants to have a party with his college buddies that he's no longer in college with, and it has to work for them as well. So, yeah, it doesn't mean that there's a direct line between that and not getting a boss, but there's a direct line between that guy who does the work and look, I have no problem if Microsoft or Sony wants to be do a big PR push and say we're going to make sure all of our games from now on we are budgeting in the time and even a behind the scenes group within Sony so it doesn't hit the mainline developer. It's like a service group, and we make sure that anything that we put out on the internet, could they do that? I'm almost certain that they could, but the fact is it's a tempest in a teacup because the amount of money that that would cost them to do financially isn't really worth it.
So
It might
there's
make
no
a few. Yeah, go ahead.
there's no world though where they could just start at a fundamental level with this requirement. Let's say this goes through and it's a law now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like, why wouldn't they just start at the beginning and say, okay, we need 4 months of dev to make sure there's a P2P version of this in the future so people can just do home servers?
You would, but first off, I doubt it would pass because of First Amendment issues. But second off, ultimately, if the law passed, yeah, you would do that. But what that means is they're not raising the budget. They're going to go, okay, well, remember how you guys had 300 million to make the game, and you guys were going to spend 6 million on this? Well, that 6 million is now going to that. Okay, I guess that's what we're doing. It's totally possible.
How much did Drawn Together? I mean, if you can share, you're allowed
I can
to.
share.
How
We
much did
spent
that
about
cost?
20, well, it's way more than it should have for a variety of reasons that had nothing to do with what it really cost, which in terms of we had to rip out all the free to play stuff because we decided to go PSN, but different story. It was about 22 million bucks, I think.
I mean, that seems low. Like it seems,
well,
I don't have a scope in terms of smaller games. I know that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, that was sub 100 million. And Path of Exile 2, that's sub 100. Like I asked those devs, how much did your game cost to make? Was it more than 100 million? They laugh in my face because it's like such an astronomical amount of money for them.
Well, first off, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is well, first off, it's single player, is a big part of it. Second off, the game cost. Our issue wasn't so much how much it cost to create. Our issue was we started on Unity and we shipped on Unity because Unreal wasn't available yet for PS4 when we were going to launch for multiplayer. It was something like that. And then it was also that we had to rip out the free to play, and that took another 8 or 9 months. So for us, it was more of things like that. But the game itself, no, the game probably could have been done for $8 million, $6-7 million. But Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which I loved, is a single player game. It's also done in a place where cost of living is a lot lower. So those are two big reasons. And it's also janky as fuck. I love it. It's one of my favorite games this year, this year. But Naughty, and again, I don't mind jank. I play tons of PC games.
Yeah.
I'd rather have an interesting game. But Naughty Dog ain't going to ship that. You see what happens when oh my God, they reused an animation of Atreus or Kratos with the canoe animation.
Yeah,
People
the troll accounts.
They lose their fucking shit. So you really think they're going to get away with the jank?
To be fair, like everybody made fun of the guy making fun of the boat animation. I don't feel like that gained a ton of traction.
That may not have, but you agree though that there is a demand for fidelity on the part of console gamers, which they paid for. That's what they want.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about that for a second, we could talk about that after, but focusing on the main topic, because we'll go on a wild tangent if we go down that one. I agree. Sometimes it's a little outlandish, just to put a pin in that.
Yeah.
The question I have is though, somebody in chat said it, I'm going to steal it. When you make a car, you got to put seatbelts in the car, right?
Yes, you do. Yep.
And that's basically what gamers are asking for. They want to know that they buy something. They want that security blanket of knowing it's not going to get turned off someday. I have 3,000 hours in Destiny 2. If they just say one day, well, Bungie's going tits up, right? We're done.
Yep.
That's the saying, right?
But it's not a good analogy.
It's just gone.
It's not a good analogy.
Why?
Because, well, look, Ralph Nader's the guy, I believe, who was the consumer advocate that really brought seatbelts to the forefront, the putting seatbelts in every car. And obviously, all of these companies took a financial hit, but we're glad they did it. I'm not opposed to sensible regulation. The reason I take issue with this particular concept is because I do think it is a creative bullying. It can lead to creative bullying, right? Which is suddenly
How?
now, well, because if I want a boss in my game, but I have to deal with this thing that I know is going to be, let's put it this way: if the game goes, like, if the game goes offline in 3 years or 10 years, the number of people that are really ever going to give a shit about that are very vocal minority. And I'm going to have to give up part of my artistic intent for what I want my game to be and our game to be, just so I can check this box. And again, seatbelts, but seatbelts save lives, right? Seatbelts
When I did the wait. When I did the Baldur's Gate video, you argued that about creative ability to do whatever, but within the constraints of like what a corporation allows you to do, right? Wouldn't this be the same thing?
So this is a nice little piece of PR propaganda to go, oh, they're noble, they get us, they get the fans. Don't be a moron. If they had to put microtransactions in because that was the business model they had signed up for, they would. You have such a successful YouTube channel at this point. Why don't you leave IGN? No. But the developer is always fighting against anyone who doesn't let them do exactly what they want to do, right? Whether it's always the creatives versus business, whether it's an executive at Sony versus the developer, or it's something else. But here's a better analogy. When we did God of War 1 legally and Twisted Metal Black legally, we were not allowed to ship the American version of those games, even though they had been tested to run in Europe, because there was content in those games that they would not. It's not just like they'd put an M on it. Stores were not allowed to carry those games, right? And so in that case, it's like, well, that's the law. I'm glad there's the American version, okay? And if this law existed, this law would exist. But I don't think this, and we would have to deal with it if I was still making games. But what I'm saying is, it's a bad idea because it makes the assumption that it's some kind of noble thing that's for the gamer. When what I'm telling you is it's nuanced enough that not every game will benefit and certain games will lose things because developers are forced to acquiesce to this. And then you're left with a maybe lesser game. But hey, at least we checked a box for a game that only 8 people are going to play in 10 years from now. So, hey, yay for us, right?
I'll tell you this. I wish 8 people could still play, what was it, Drawn to Death?
Yeah, me too. But oh well, that's the breaks.
But would you feel better had you had a barrier like this? So you would rather it's can never be seen again? Like, really?
Well, I would not rather it can never be seen again, but
to me, it's sad.
It's not sad to me, but that I'm different. I get that I'm a minority on that. It doesn't really bother me. But I also think, by the way, I would argue with you that it's a generational thing. I think if you talk to kids today who are playing Fortnite or who are playing a lot of Roblox or even Call of Duty, there's a lot, there are these events that come and go. There are games, my kids can't play not Animal Jam, Club Penguin anymore that they grew up with, right? It's kind of the ephemeral nature of what games are for a lot of people. And I get that I'm not defending it. That's why I took issue with your clip, because it wasn't that it's all about the money. I don't care about the consumer. I care about the developer, and in caring about the developer, I care about the consumer, because I know if the developer can succeed, they will allow themselves to make the gamer happier. Well, if it's a good game.
In my mind, I care about the developer too, but differently. I want your game to be seen in perpetuity. And when you're gone in 100 years, I want to be able to share that game with my kids, and maybe my kids will show it with their kids. Like any game like that we loved enough to share with people. Like, we want to be able to share that. It's art, and it's just gone. It's just deleted. Well, like, people aren't going to know about it in 50 years,
I'm not terribly convinced by that, only because I think what we've seen already, if people want to find a way to make a game playable, they'll find a way. And with AI especially, it's like in 10 years, it'll be like, hey, there's this game Drawn to Death, but it's not running because of back-end stuff. Can you quickly kludge this together so me and my friends can play it? Sure, give me 10 minutes. Give me 2 minutes, right? I don't really think that future is...
Whoa. You said it'll take you 2 minutes?
It won't take me 2 minutes. In 10 years... In 10 years, the AI can do it.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. And they'll they won't worry about, oh, it'll crash or the original code reaches out to Sony's network that doesn't exist anymore, right? So, okay, well, the AI will come up with something that does exist that can kludge it together for that 10 rounds of Drawn to Death these kids want to play or something. So I'm not terribly worried about it, but fundamentally, it's a First Amendment issue with me. I don't like a law telling the developer where they need to spend their money unless it is something like seatbelts. Like, I would rather a company go out of business, like perhaps Ubisoft is in the process of doing in fits and starts, because the consumer is pushing back on the way they treat the customer. Yeah. I'd rather it work that way than the government coming in and saying, okay, now make sure we're going to be, having our fingers in the budgetary meetings now. And I'm like, really? Like, even the ESRB is not a legal body. If Sony wanted to, they could just say ESRB. They can do what the comic companies did, where they'll just start rating their own games.
Would you say your issue then is more government overreach than anything else?
My issue is artistic support of the creative vision, which in this case would get harmed by government overreach. But it's not a one size fits all. But in this case, yeah, I don't like anybody telling the developer, anybody else other than the people who are paying the bill, what they can do. I get bothered by that.
Well, I think we differ on one small point. I think a company with like a $4 trillion market cap can easily foot the bill and not ask me to pay $10 more for every game that I ever play.
They absolutely can, but as long as you keep paying it, they'll keep asking for it.
Yeah. Well, I think we're hitting that cap, sort of.
That's great, but let's solve it by
diminishing returns are going to happen.
Yeah, let's solve it by making companies go out of business. Let's not solve it by a law. Let's just go, oh, I don't like the way I'm being treated. Gamers are really loud and they bitch a lot, but end of the day, the minute the game ships, I mean, it's a gamer problem.
They still buy it.
And I get your point, because you want your audience to love you. I wish my audience loved me, but I have to be honest with them.
You really think, well, hold up. You really think I'm just doing this for like clout? You think I don't have any personal, that I take issue with, because
I know you do. That's why
you've indicated with that before. You really think I'm just like pretending to actually give a shit about this stuff?
I don't think you're pretending, but I think it's more nuanced, and there's no one who has been an actual IGN journalist for as long as you were knows that it's not. I think you're selectively choosing, or you're choosing to selectively omit some of the reasons these things exist and other solutions to them that are probably better for the industry as a whole. Of course, we want customers to always be happy and get everything they want, blah, 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 blah. But we also know the fact that a company is, IGN, when you were at IGN, I assumed they were going to put as many ads in front of the customer as they could until the customers started to not click. And then they'd go, oh, there's the point of friction. We can't cross this line, right?
Let's get IGN Prime.
Right. Well, okay. So Ubisoft similarly, or Sony, or any of these companies, they are going to push until the consumer pushes back, and then they'll go, oop, too far. Okay. And so fundamentally, gamers bitch a lot, and I get it, and it's easy to go, yeah. But fundamentally, shouldn't these journalists be yelling at the gamer and going, guys, you're the ones causing this. You're the ones making this happen. Stop fucking buying it. But I don't want to. I want my game. Okay.
Go look at the first video that I made on my channel. I made it 8 years ago. I've been a strong advocate for not spending money on microtransactions and digital purchases. I have been consistent in that. And I do hold gamers accountable for that aspect of it. And if you're going to keep buying horse armor and all that stuff, but that doesn't mean like I only have to yell at one person or only advocate for one thing.
But and how often
I do feel this way.
The biggest problem with this DLC issue, we're falling for it. And the biggest gaming companies in the world know that. In 2012, Activision's net revenue was $4.86 billion. 32% of that was digital revenue, including full games, DLC, and yes, microtransactions. 2014 painted a similar picture with $4.81 billion in net revenue and a whopping 46% of which came from digital revenue, aka $2.2 billion. Consumers, what can you do with this information? Well, this trend is only going to continue unless you start voting with your wallet. It's only going to get worse if you do, and all the complaining on Twitter or ranting in videos like I am right now will not matter if you keep voting yes with your money.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I feel part of what you're saying I agree with as well, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I think that gamers don't get called out to the woodshed as often as they should by journalists and by the media. And so it's easy to kind of have them put you up on their shoulders and go, yeah, he's a man of the people. And it's like, guys, stop fucking wasting your money and they'll stop doing it. You know how I know it? Because I was at Sony when they were trying to push the 3D TVs. Guess what? You can't walk in and buy anymore is a fucking 3D TV because the audience said no. Just like they said no to Concord. That's why Concord's gone. They have all this power and they act like they're victims. It's weird.
I would actually argue the opposite. I think there is a large focus on, like, I think the reason the Baldur's Gate video blew up so much, partially, like, I would have changed things about the video.
I don't even remember what we talked
industry.
about. What were we talking about in that video?
I made a video about Nelson's take about raising the bar, and I talked about all the negative stuff that has been added into games over years and how it's become too profit heavy versus like launching day one in a functional state. And I don't know, it's there, like, I would have just changed, instead of using the word developers, I would have said like the industry and everything like that. But anyway, I think the reason that video blew up so much is because for so long we have had such a focus on the development process and the plight of developers, which is absolutely warranted and a reasonable thing to justify for. And I think more often than not, we see people shitting on gamers constantly. Like, gamers are bad. They don't know what they're talking about. They're dumb. And like,
where is that coming from?
That's the overall consensus, I would say, from the audience. Like, that's like, they just don't care because they talk about not wanting so many microtransactions in the games. And there is the personal accountability level to that, but like 20 whales spending $3,000 a year in a game will never stop that from negatively impacting the experience. So I think there is not enough focus on what the gamer is facing, the challenges of the gamer, like Nintendo Switch 2 launching and requiring you to connect online. The consensus I saw online was like, look at all these stupid people complaining about this on the internet, about how they have to connect to the internet. I don't agree with that. I think you should just be able to play your Switch 1 games on your Switch 2. Now, I recognize why that's happening. It's because of pirating. But at the end of the day, I think that's weird that it would be a contentious conversation with their audience. So I see a lot of negativity towards the gamer.
Are you saying Nintendo called the gamers stupid?
No. Just people in the journalism space. And I thought it was super weird. Like, why are you being combative with people that you're supposed to be sharing information with?
Well, because they're probably wrong.
What's wrong about saying that my Switch 2 should be able to play Switch 1 games on day one?
No, nothing is wrong with having that desire. I think it's a perfectly reasonable desire. But Nintendo benefits for having it connected, right?
Yeah, because you can't pirate with the MIG chip, I think, is the main reason.
Right. And so has the customer walked away from buying the Switch 2?
Obviously not.
So all I'm saying, and I'm not trying to be obnoxious about it, although I'm sure it's coming across that way to people.
No, I'll sit here longer. I don't want to take up all your time.
No, but I just want to be clear.
But I like to hash it out.
I do too, but I'm not trying to be obnoxious about it. I'm trying to say that, you know, and maybe this is one of the benefits or detriments to having, and I mean, you worked at a big company too. IGN's not small potatoes or anything, but you know, working at a big corporation, it became very evident to me relatively quickly that you have to look at these companies like they are aliens, and it's like that movie with Amy Adams, Arrival, where they speak one language, and it's not what you say on the internet. It's got nothing to do with that. It's not you saying you're unhappy. It's not your petitions.
It's money.
It's that right. And I don't mean to make it like, it's so crass, but pretend you're talking to an alien species, and it's like, oh, I give it money, it keeps doing the same thing. I stop giving it money, and if a lot of people agree with me, guess what? It won't do that thing anymore. It's like training a dog. It's the simplest fucking thing. And
Mhm.
so for me, it's just more of a, you don't like it, you should probably stop doing it. And again, also I get that I don't know your demographic, Destin, for your
34 to
audience.
44, I think, is mainly male.
No, I mean in terms of are they more console or PC or whatever? But I would
I'd have
imagine if
chat, you'd have to tell us. I don't know.
yeah, if I imagine if most of my gaming was done on console, this would sting more than it does because I game on console, but I also game on PC. And this idea of can I just play my game and leave me alone? There are plenty of AA and indie games that they don't give a shit about microtransactions. It's I'm playing a demo right now for a sequel to a game called Tormented Souls, which was on console, but it's like a HD old school
I've heard of
version
that
of
one,
Resident. Yeah, the sequel demo is out and it's fabulous. It's fantastic. It'll probably replace Resident Evil 1 HD as sort of that perfect version of that kind of game, right? Well, there's no microtransactions in that. It's just the game. But you know, people are like, yes, but I'm playing this big thing. I was like, yeah, I get it.
You know,
should
I
try
remember.
playing some other
Sorry,
things.
David. I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt you.
no, that's fine.
I remember when Ibarra said, "Oh, I wish I could tip the developer or whatever like that," and he was kind of getting
Mike
roasted for
Ibarra,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was sort of a silly premise. I think that games that add DLC or they add interesting things that are a benefit to the player, I see that as like I can give a little bit on that one, right? If you're adding DLC or adding story content or adding something of note, I think that's like, okay, yeah, I kind of get what you're doing there, and I'm okay with that. And I don't buy microtransactions. I'll buy
Right.
I think I did buy a battle pass once, but then
Mhm.
it's because you buy it once and then you could earn the rest, and then Halo stopped doing that.
Right.
But anyway, yeah.
I buy Marvel Snap every month, and I'm delighted by my monthly purchase. It's $10 a month. I get brand new cards, I get brand new challenges, and it totally changes the game usually.
Never spent a cent.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean,
Thousands of hours. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's great that you can enjoy it enough and you don't have to spend anything. But I am very happy to spend up until this new recent Fantastic Four thing. I've never seen a pay to win card. Now that they're starting to do pay to win, if that becomes a trend, then that's when I walk away because then it hurts the gameplay. Before it was just kind of cosmetic or, oh, okay, I would love to do a card system like this, but I don't have that card yet. But they've done a really good job of it, I think, so far. So, but I mean, I hear you. I am always I think customers, like I said in my video, will the corporations will gut you, and if they can make more money, they'll gut you again and sell the guts. Right? They're not your friends. I get it, but I also think that the customer, yeah, they should be take a little more responsibility of how they spend their fucking money.
So you're just saying it's sort of 50-50. You don't like something, stop spending money on it.
That's the only way it's ever going to work. These petitions are stupid.
But this one's likely going to go to whatever the next step is of it.
The next step is simply just a conversation of like, should we make a law? Now, I can't speak to Europe. The only thing I can say in Europe does a better job of being less pure crony capitalism and less, so there's a lot of things that come from Europe that I wish we had here as it relates to sort of video game and customer protection. In America, again, I'm nowhere close to being a lawyer. I don't even need to say that. It's evident. But my guess would be that this would be a pretty easy First Amendment case to go in America and go, you're basically telling the government, because it's not seatbelts, it's saying you can't have red colored cars because of whatever reason.
Can you, I know you're being hyperbolic. Can you actually use a better analogy that is more technical? Because you obviously you can have red colored cars, but
let's say you got to pick something that has been found to be art. So let's just take a movie, because I know cigarettes aren't art, although I'm sure somebody who makes them might say they are, but whatever. So I guess you could say that you can't end your movie on a cliffhanger, because I paid for a satisfying experience, and no movies can end on a cliffhanger. right? Because that's not consumer friendly, because then you're basically leaving the audience going, it doesn't feel like my meal is finished. You only sold me part of it. Right. And it's like,
Maybe
I
cigarettes are better. Cigarettes are a product. Well, because like you could end on a cliffhanger. Like really, they're just asking to be able to play your game, right?
Oh, you mean an exact analogy to, okay. A TV series. You watch a show, and they don't put it anywhere. And let's say G4, whatever, Spike TV had a show you loved, and you want to watch it again, but Spike TV's gone now,
and the licensing rights are all messed up.
Even if they weren't, no one in the world in the world of business has decided I can get the rights to whatever goofy show they had, Attack of the Show, and the licensing isn't a problem. I want to put it out there. So no one puts it out there, and so it doesn't exist for you. I mean, you don't get to have everything you want just because you want it.
But there's a solution. There's a solution for that. It's basically piracy. You could have recorded it on a VHS or
and that's and that's fine. That's fine. But you can't monetize it. I mean, you can't make money off it.
That's
can try.
true. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I think I understand your perspective better. The original comment wasn't supposed to be like a "fuck David Jaffe" comment to swear.
Well, but
that's not how I meant it.
I know.
No,
you performed the line badly.
Yeah.
Don't pretend that
you
it
know
wasn't...
me. I'm like I'm not a dick 90%.
You're not you're not a dick at all, and that's why when I made the video, I said I like Destin.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't like, oh fuck this guy. I took no ill will, but I was certainly going to make hay out of it and make a little money and get some But fundamentally, if you watch the video, it's not me. I said the real issue I have is with the creative aspect of telling developers how they have to spend their limited budget.
So now you're backtracking. You're backtracking now.
No, I enjoyed taking a jab at you because you took one at me, and I'm not going to just sit there and go, "Oh man, that sucks." Dustin hit me in the face.
I didn't think you would have seen it. It was just I was giving my reaction to it, and they're like, "What do you think of Pirate Software? And what do you think about Jaffe?" I'm like, I don't like what the fuck. I'm talking about my opinion on it.
Yeah, somebody sent it. Somebody sent it to me, and
you're farming.
I'm not. I am far. Well, that's the business.
Smart.
I mean, look, I don't have the cachet of of a you where it's like you can just pick up the phone and call these people anymore. They won't talk to me, which is my fault. I made that bet. I'll lie in it. But so yeah, I got to farm a little bit. But there's substance in that video. I didn't put it out. I mean, if I wanted to farm, I would have talked. I'm kidding. I got nothing to farm you on. I like you. Unfortunately, that could have made some money. Oh well.
Chat, we got our next video. I'm gonna farm David.
Farm the fuck out of it. I'll put on my overalls, my straw hat, my corncob pipe. We'll go farm.
I will say the reason I wanted to pick up the call is because I did want to understand your perspective better because people are like, oh, he's talking shit about you over on his channel. I was like, what? Like, why wouldn't he just message me? And I watch your video. I'm like, it just sounds like he's just talking about his perspective. So
yeah, people are. No one's talking shit about you.
Chat farmed us both.
Goddamn right.
Farmed us both for content.
Good for you, chat.
I get it. I think we still have a little bit of a like. I still think like the money hat should pay for it. I don't think you should pay for it. I don't think your artistic vision should be impacted. I think the 4 trillion or whatever Sony's worth these days should figure out systems that allow these games to work. Maybe AI can help with it. Like they do all that coding for us, right?
I would have liked my ticket to Superman to have been free, but since I was willing to pay for it, the money hats are like, nope.
Yeah,
but they only pay for what you make them pay for, man. You got to know that.
Yeah,
that's how it is. Anyway,
all
right. Well,
thanks,
look, man,
David.
good to talk to you again. I'll talk to you soon. Be well, and see you, chat. Bye, everybody. Thanks, Dustin.
Thanks. Have a good one. I don't completely agree with his perspective. I do think that the corporation should pay for it. And I don't think that should be on you. I wish people did that shit more often. Like, hey, you made a video about me. Let's talk about it. You're telling me I can't pay for AWS if I want to play a game. There's a solution here is all I'm saying. And I don't think his solution of his artistic vision is the only possible way for this to happen. I don't agree with that. So that's the only thing. Oh, the only way we're going to be able to make that happen is if we don't have the boss fight. I'm like, says who? And I think Jaffe is advocating for not negatively impacting his artistic goal and vision. Because at the end of the day, that seems to be what he really has a problem with. Because if a law is made, then they will have to do that. There are laws right now with my content creation, though. Like if I take a sponsorship, I have to disclose #ad, and I actually prefer to do that. So that's not an issue for me. I can understand his perspective, but I just think there is a better solution than the one that he's discussing. I disagree. Like, he seems to think that I'm actually being performative. I'm absolutely not. I just get emotional about stuff. And I wear my heart on my sleeve, so to speak, right? Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. I do greatly appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the members, Chris, Freddy, Philaroni, Spingetter, and Aries EMS. I do greatly appreciate you. Thank you so much. I do appreciate y'all. I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now.